In the vast expanse of the galaxy, fear hung like a shroud, woven from the horrors inflicted by the Arcanites. This brutal collective, known for their merciless conquests, swept through star systems like a relentless storm, annihilating civilizations and leaving only ashes in their wake. The Galactic Council watched helplessly as one planet after another fell under their brutal dominion, their leaders executed, their resources plundered. The Council convened in a colossal chamber aboard the Stellar Citadel, a magnificent space station orbiting the serene planet of Varentia. Delegates from various worlds gathered, their faces lined with worry and defeat. Holographic images of recent Arcanite attacks flickered on screens, showcasing the devastation wrought upon once thriving civilizations. High Counselor Aliana, a wise and commanding presence, stood at the forefront. Her silver hair framed her face, a stark contrast to the youthfulness in her piercing blue eyes. "We cannot remain passive any longer," she urged, her voice resonating with authority. "We must unite our forces against this threat before it is too late." "But how?" interjected a representative from the planet Calthor, his voice laced with desperation. "Our fleets have been decimated. We cannot mount a counterattack with what little we have left." A murmur of agreement rippled through the assembly. The council was filled with fear and doubt, yet Aliana remained resolute. "We may lack numbers, but we possess ingenuity. If we cannot gather a fleet, we can send one ship, our most advanced warship, the UES Valor." Chapter 2: The Valor's Creation. The UES Valor was humanity's pride, a state-of-the-art warship equipped with experimental technology that could turn the tide of battle. Built in secret, it embodied the hopes and dreams of a species determined to fight back against oppression. Captain Alaric Voss was chosen to command the Valor, a decorated officer known for his tactical genius and unyielding spirit. Having witnessed the destruction of his home world at the hands of the Arcanites, his heart burned with a desire for vengeance and justice. As Alaric prepared to embark on his mission, he gathered his crew, handpicked for their exceptional skills. Among them was Lieutenant Mira Solis, a brilliant engineer with an innate ability to fix even the most complex systems. Her infectious enthusiasm provided a much-needed spark in the grim atmosphere. "Together, we'll show the Arcanites what humanity is capable of," Alaric declared, standing before his diverse crew in the Valor's sleek command center. Each member wore a determined expression, ready to face the challenges ahead. Chapter 3: The First Encounter. As the Valor entered Arcanite territory, the crew felt the weight of their mission pressing upon them. Alaric's heart raced as he stared at the holographic displays, scanning for any signs of enemy activity. The sensors picked up a large Arcanite convoy heading toward a nearby colony. "This is our chance," Alaric announced, adrenaline surging through him. "We'll intercept them before they reach the colony." Myra's fingers danced over the controls, initiating the ship's stealth systems. "We'll be invisible to their sensors," she said, her eyes glinting with excitement. The ship moved silently through the void, the crew's anticipation palpable. As they closed in on the convoy, alarms suddenly blared. "They've detected us!" Raxtal, the ship's tactical officer, shouted. "We need to engage now." "Fire!" Alaric commanded. The Valor unleashed a barrage of plasma fire, striking the nearest Arcanite vessel. The explosion illuminated the darkness, a signal to the crew that their fight had begun. Chapter 4: The Tide of Battle. The ensuing battle was chaotic and fierce. The Arcanite ships retaliated with overwhelming force, their superior numbers closing in around the Valor. But Alaric and his crew were undeterred. The ship danced through enemy fire, evading attacks while returning fire with precision. "Target their engines!" Alaric shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. "We need to cripple their ability to regroup." As they pressed the attack, the crew worked in perfect harmony, their training and camaraderie shining through. Mira managed the ship's systems with expert precision, keeping the shields up just long enough to absorb enemy hits. Amidst the chaos, Alaric spotted the flagship of the Arcanite fleet looming in the distance. "That's our target," he declared, determination igniting within him. "We'll board their flagship and take the fight to their leader." Chapter 5: Boarding the Flagship. With a surge of adrenaline, Alaric ordered the crew to prepare boarding pods. The Valor launched them toward the flagship, a barrage of blaster fire erupting as they impacted the hull. The crew stormed aboard, weapons ready and hearts racing. Inside the flagship, they encountered fierce resistance. Arcanite warriors, clad in dark armor, fought with a brutal efficiency that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The corridors erupted into chaos as Alaric and his crew clashed with their enemies. Alaric led the charge, his blade flashing as he fought alongside Mira and Rax. Together, they carved a path through the enemy ranks, determination propelling them forward. With each fallen foe, the crew grew more emboldened, their spirits rising in the face of adversity. Chapter 6: The Arcanite Leader. As they fought their way to the command center, Alaric felt a surge of hope. They had come so far, and the thought of confronting the Arcanite leader fueled his resolve. Finally, they burst into the command room, a vast chamber filled with advanced technology and imposing displays. At the center stood the Arcanite leader, a towering figure known as General Carix, his presence exuding power and menace. He turned slowly, his eyes narrowing as they met Alaric's. "You dare invade my flagship?" he thundered, his voice a deep rumble that shook the room. "We are humanity," Alaric declared, his voice steady. "And we will not cower in fear any longer." With that, the battle erupted anew. Alaric faced off against Carix, a clash of wills and weapons as the two fought with ferocity. The crew battled against the remaining Arcanite forces, their resolve unyielding. Chapter 7: A Turning Point. The clash between Alaric and Carix raged on, neither side yielding. Alaric's training and instincts kicked in as he parried Carix's strikes, searching for an opening. The Arcanite general fought with raw power, his movements brutal and calculated. In the heat of battle, Mira and Rax held their own against the remaining Arcanite soldiers, the command room a cacophony of clashing weapons and shouts. Alaric's heart raced as he fought to gain the upper hand, determination fueling every strike. Finally, with a calculated move, Alaric saw his chance. He feinted to the left, drawing Carix's blade away, and then delivered a swift blow that disarmed the general. The weapon clattered to the ground, and Alaric seized the moment. "You will pay for your tyranny," Alaric declared, bringing his weapon to Carix's throat. The room fell silent, the Arcanite forces freezing in shock. Chapter 8: A New Dawn. With Carix defeated, the crew of the Valor had a moment to catch their breath. The tide of battle shifted, and the remaining Arcanite forces began to retreat, realizing their leader had fallen. Cheers erupted among Alaric's crew, their victory hard-fought and well-deserved. "Contact the coalition," Alaric ordered, his heart swelling with pride for his team. "Let them know we have defeated Carix. It's time to rally our forces and take back what is ours." As the Valor returned to the coalition's territory, the news of their triumph spread like wildfire. The galaxy, once shrouded in despair, began to feel the stirrings of hope. Worlds that had been subjugated by the Arcanites began to rise, emboldened by the message that humanity had sent. Chapter 9: The Coalition Awakens. With the defeat of Carix, the coalition united in ways they had never imagined. The once fractured alliances solidified, and plans for a counter-offensive were put into motion. Alaric's crew, celebrated as heroes, traveled from planet to planet, inspiring others to join the fight. High Counselor Aliana stood before a gathering of leaders, her voice filled with passion. "The Arcanites believed they could subjugate us forever, but we have shown them that we will not be silenced. Together, we will reclaim our worlds and bring an end to their reign of terror." The crowd erupted in cheers, their spirits lifted by the promise of unity and strength. Alaric felt a swell of pride, knowing that their mission had sparked a revolution that could change the course of history. Chapter 10: The Final Confrontation. With the coalition's forces bolstered, they launched a full-scale assault against the Arcanite Empire. The Valor led the charge, Alaric commanding the ship with unwavering confidence. The battle that ensued was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The coalition fleet, once scattered and demoralized, now moved as one, a united force of diverse species and technologies. Ships of all shapes and sizes wove through the void, their crews fueled by the hope ignited by the valor's victory. "On my mark, we engage!" Alaric shouted over the comms as they neared the Arcanite stronghold. His heart pounded in his chest, the weight of countless lives resting on their success. With a surge of energy, Alaric initiated the attack. The coalition fleet unleashed a torrent of fire upon the Arcanite defenses, each ship playing its part in the grand symphony of battle. Explosions erupted across the battlefield, a tapestry of light and sound that spoke of the fury and resilience of a united front. Chapter 11: The Heart of Darkness. As the battle raged, Alaric and his crew fought their way through the Arcanite stronghold. Each corridor was a gauntlet, filled with traps and ambushes, but the crew's training and their experiences on the flagship paid off. They moved with purpose and determination, knowing that every step brought them closer to victory. Finally, they reached the heart of the stronghold, a massive chamber pulsing with energy and darkness. At its center stood a grotesque throne, occupied by a new Arcanite leader, an imposing figure known as Warlord Draken. "You think you can defeat me?" Draken sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. "The Arcanites will never bow to the likes of you." Alaric stepped forward, his weapon drawn and ready. "You've underestimated humanity and the coalition," he replied. "Today, we end your reign of terror." The final confrontation erupted in a clash of might and will. Alaric, fueled by the memories of lost worlds and fallen friends, fought with a ferocity that surprised even him. Draken, powerful and relentless, fought back with a rage born of centuries of conquest. Chapter 12: The Ultimate Sacrifice. As the battle wore on, Alaric began to tire, his movements slowing under the relentless pressure. But he refused to falter. Just as it seemed that Draken would deliver the final blow, Mira and Rax managed to breach the chaos surrounding them, launching a coordinated attack on Draken's flank. "Now, Alaric!" Mira shouted, her voice cutting through the din. Seizing the opportunity, Alaric lunged, driving his weapon deep into Draken's side. With a guttural roar, Draken staggered back, the light in his eyes dimming. "This isn't over," he gasped, but the weight of his defeat was evident. Alaric, panting heavily, stood his ground, the tide of battle finally shifting in favor of the coalition. Chapter 13: The Aftermath. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, the coalition stood victorious. The remaining Arcanite forces, leaderless and demoralized, retreated into the void. Alaric and his crew emerged from the stronghold, battered but unbroken. Cheers erupted among their comrades, a chorus of triumph that filled the air with a sense of hope. The galaxy, once terrorized by the Arcanites, had begun to heal. High Counselor Aliana, who had witnessed the battle from the command center aboard the Stellar Citadel, transmitted her gratitude. "You have not only saved countless lives today, but you have ignited a flame of resistance that will burn brightly for generations to come." Alaric looked at his crew, their faces a mix of exhaustion and elation. "This victory is ours," he said, his voice steady. "But it's only the beginning. We must rebuild and unite further to ensure that this darkness never returns." Chapter 14: A New Era. In the weeks that followed, the coalition began to restructure, forging new alliances and reinforcing their defenses. The valor of the UES Valor and its crew inspired a renaissance of hope across the galaxy. News of their victory spread like wildfire, energizing worlds that had once lost hope. Mira worked tirelessly in the shipyards, helping to upgrade and repair ships, her enthusiasm infectious. Rax became a strategist, helping to design new battle tactics and training programs for coalition forces. Alaric, now a celebrated figure, took on the role of a leader, guiding discussions on how to prevent future threats. He emphasized unity, pushing for a galactic defense force that could respond swiftly to any sign of danger. Chapter 15: Echoes of the Past. Despite their triumph, the shadows of war lingered. Alaric often found himself reflecting on the lives lost, the worlds destroyed. He visited the ruins of his home planet, a solemn reminder of the price of conflict. Standing among the ashes, he vowed to honor those who had fallen by ensuring that such devastation would never be repeated. He reached out to those who had survived, bringing them together to share their stories, ensuring that their voices would not be silenced by time. Chapter 16: The Threat Resurfaces. As months turned into years, peace reigned, but the threat of the Arcanites was not entirely vanquished. Whispers of a remnant faction began to circulate, those loyal to Draken, seeking vengeance for their fallen leader. Alaric gathered his crew once more, the bond they had forged unbreakable. "We will be ready," he assured them. "We will not allow fear to take root again. We are the guardians of this galaxy." Chapter 17: A Call to Arms. With new intelligence surfacing about the remnants of the Arcanites, the coalition prepared for what could be an inevitable conflict. Alaric knew that unity was key. They needed to stand together, stronger than before. The crew of the Valor became ambassadors of hope, traveling to distant worlds to rally support. Their tales of bravery inspired others to join the cause, reinforcing the bonds that had been forged in battle. Chapter 18: The Gathering Storm. As tensions mounted, the coalition received word of a massive Arcanite fleet gathering at the edge of known space. Alaric understood that this could be the final confrontation, a battle that would determine the fate of the galaxy once and for all. "Prepare the Valor," he ordered, his voice calm and resolute. "We will face them head-on. This time, we fight not just for survival, but for the future of every sentient being in the galaxy." Chapter 19: The Last Stand. The day of reckoning arrived. The coalition fleet assembled, a diverse array of ships and crews united by a common cause. Alaric stood on the bridge of the Valor, looking out at the swirling chaos of ships and stars. "Remember why we fight," he said, addressing his crew and allies. "For every world that has suffered, for every life that has been lost, we fight for a future where tyranny has no place." As they engaged the Arcanite fleet, the Valor's advanced technology proved invaluable. Alaric led the charge, his crew executing maneuvers that showcased their unity and determination. The battle was fierce, with both sides taking heavy losses, but the coalition held its ground. Chapter 20: The Final Victory. In the heat of battle, Alaric spotted a familiar face among the Arcanite ranks: Warlord Draken's second in command, a formidable warrior named Kale. The two locked eyes, and Alaric felt a spark of recognition. This was a foe who had been part of the darkness for too long. The final confrontation unfolded as Alaric and Kale clashed in a brutal duel. Each strike resonated with the weight of their respective legacies, the warrior fighting for vengeance and the captain fighting for hope. As Alaric disarmed Kale, he extended a hand, offering a chance for redemption. "Join us, and help us build a future without tyranny," he urged. Kale, breathless and beaten, paused. "You are a fool," he spat, but there was a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. Alaric took a step closer. "It's not too late for you. Together, we can build something greater than the darkness."